better life. They braved life and limb. They risked life and limb to get here, and they built this country. This country was built on the back of immigrants and on the back of both forced immigrants, slaves, as well as willing immigrants that came here, like my Italian ancestors, who, by the way, I found out just a few years ago, came here, quote, illegally through Ellis Island. That's why their names were changed and so forth. So we're here to reestablish the welcoming environment that Cobb and Georgia has. The carpet is laid out to welcome immigrants and migrants, mainly because our chief executive in Georgia, as well as candidates for some unscrupulous candidates for public office, are once again spreading fear-mongering, hate-mongering, and misinformation about recent migrant refugees coming over the border, when really our state coffers, the surplus that our governor brags about and graciously shares with us, is due in large part to migrants and immigrant labor, as well as, you know, all of us working together. So we're one community, and we want to again establish this welcoming environment. We want to put the word out there to our immigrant brothers and sisters, migrant refugees, that we welcome you, and if anybody is attacking you, anybody is making it hard for you to be here, you contact us and we've got your back, okay? And we will share the correct information. In our open letter that we sent to the governor, we listed some of the correct information about the recent migrants, okay? And we're happy to answer questions about those. You've got copies of that letter. Thank you. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce some of our coalition members and speakers today. First, we'll have Dr. Ben, president of Cobb chapter of the SCLC.
Yeah, thank you very much, and certainly want to extend my appreciation to the members of the press who still find it of interest to come out in the streets with us as we share with you both good news and bad news with respect to dynamics in Cobb County and in the nation. I'm conflicted now, knowing that this weekend was the 59th anniversary, the march from Selma to Montgomery, led by none other than Dr. King. That still there is that underbelly that has not been decimated yet, that finds reason and strength to raise its ugly head. So when I think about the celebration of 59 years ago, and then in my own state, the leader of the state, namely our governor, has positioned himself to be on the front lines of really behaving in a manner that is, to be candid, an embarrassment to our state. A state that for years has grown its wealth largely on the backs of immigrants. For years, they have been here working this agricultural state and culling the products that can be exchanged for money, currency upon which the state depends. It is not only disrespectful, but it is absolutely deplorable that he would be in the mix of an increasing number of political leaders who does not recognize that and have simply taken a crane and pulled down that woman who sits in the Bay of Manhattan, Lady Liberty, who in fact is the historic symbol of what this country is supposed to be. So SCLC, Dr. King's organization, will do all that it can to make sure that those doors, those floodgates, don't open up here in the state of Georgia. We'll also be attendant of the national movement. That is important, and if anyone who hears my voice takes anything away, I would simply want this: in Cobb County, in Georgia, and in the nation, there is no place hate-mongering, fear-mongering, intimidation of those people who, in fact, like many of our ancestors, came in here through Ellis Island. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ben. Now, we're going to have a representative of law enforcement at the Sheriff's Department, because all law enforcement agencies will tell you, and thankfully I've seen on some of your reports regarding the tragic murder at UGA of the young student there, I've seen you interview other law enforcement professionals who said that do not blame the migrant or Hispanic community, because the communities where undocumented immigrants live are the safest communities in America. That's the research, what it shows. So we have, thankfully, our Sheriff Owens has sent a representative, Mr. Carlos Garcia, to share a message of hope and welcoming.
Thank you.
Carlos.
Thank you. First off, my name is Carlos Garcia, and I am a member of the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, Hispanic Outreach for the Latino community here in Cobb County. And I am an immigrant and American by choice. I'm proudly to serve my community here in Cobb County. And this is it's been a long time since the Sheriff's Office and law enforcement agencies throughout Cobb, we've been working really hard to build trust and transparency among communities, especially immigrants and Latino and Hispanics communities here in Cobb County. We don't want we don't want history to repeat itself. We all of us want to live in a safe and secure community. But when we marginalize specific individuals for their legal status, we create an issue for everybody. Regardless, you're a citizen, American, immigrant, it don't matter. It's a public safety issue. But this is the reasons that I'm here, not just speaking on behalf of the Cobb County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Perk Owens, but I'm also here speaking on behalf of the Latino Hispanic community, residents of Cobb County. And one of the messages that we want to deliver today, working for the law enforcement agency, is that please do not be afraid, especially if you are a victim of a crime. Please come forward. We would like to hear from you. If you're a victim of domestic violence or any type of crime, we're still going to serve everybody regardless of their immigration status. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Appreciate it. Now we're going to hear from Mr. Gabriel Sanchez, who's a candidate for public office and also a member of the Hispanic community who's directly impacted by this hate-mongering and fear-mongering. And I'll let him share the district he's running in, which is a very diverse one in Smyrna here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel Sanchez. I'm running in a Democratic primary for Georgia State House District 42, which includes Smyrna, Cumberland, Dobbins Air Force Base. But today I want to talk about, my story and my family. Because, I'm a son of Colombian immigrants. I was actually born right here in Marietta, born and raised in Georgia. And I remember as a child seeing my parents have Tennessee driver's licenses. And I always wondered why that was the case. And it wasn't until later that I realized that in the state of Georgia, it's illegal, based on your immigration status, to have a driver's license, which is just, I don't know how people can expect someone to find a job or be able to do basic necessities like going to the grocery store without a driver's license. Our community faces so many hardships and so many obstacles already just by being immigrants on its own. And the fact that the state of Georgia and this country goes further than that to continue to marginalize our communities is just so sad to me, because our community gives so much to this state and to this country. The food you eat, the new house you move into that was built in the last few decades, that's our community. You wouldn't have that without us. And I just feel like, taking advantage of a tragedy that happened in UGA like this and using it to push such a racist anti-immigrant agenda is so disgusting, and it has no place here in this state. We need to have representation that truly represents our communities and understands the human value of people in our communities. And, I just really want the lies to stop. The lies that the immigrants cause crime. It's a complete and utter lie. Instead of lying, we should be trying to look for solutions to this problem to make sure that every single person in Georgia has equal rights under the law, regardless of their status, regardless of their race, their gender, their sexuality. That's what we should be fighting for. And honestly, the only thing I can think of the reason they're doing this is because it's a distraction. It's a distraction from the failures of the state of Georgia to really talk about and solve the economic issues that our people are facing, both in the immigrant community, but also in all communities. It's not immigrants' fault that your housing prices are going up. It's because of corporations and huge landlords coming in, buying up all the property and making it unattainable for regular people. It's not immigrants' fault that healthcare is so poor in this state and it's cost so much. It's because of big pharma insurance companies. It is not immigrants' fault that you're paid a low wage or don't have access to healthcare or, can't form a union because the corporations don't want you to do that. And in fact, many big corporations have been illegally trafficking people into this country in order to exploit their labor. So we need to stop letting them distract and divide us, and instead us come together to fight for the issues that we all care about. Because that's what we need in this state and in this country, and that's what I want to fight for as well. And so I thank you so much for this press conference, Richard. It's very important, and I want to make sure that we all can come together and look at our fellow man and recognize the common issues that we all have and not let ourselves be divided. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Good words.
And I want to emphasize a couple of quick things. One is, this is not a partisan issue, okay? For 15 years, there's been bipartisan efforts, starting with Kennedy and McCain 15 years ago, to bring about comprehensive immigration reform, sensible laws to enhance and control immigration, okay? But all of those efforts, the Bush family have tried, okay, on both sides of the aisle. They've been fought down by extremist, right-wing, I have to say it, white supremacists that have commandeered the GOP, and they fought down every bipartisan effort to bring about reform, legal reform. The other thing I want to say is, we have a large community of not just Hispanic immigrants, but West Indian, African, by the way, Russian and Eastern European that look more like me, okay? Why are they not demonized? Okay, so let's, I mean, I hate to say it, but there's a race white supremacist issue here, that conspiracy theories that, white people are trying to be replaced. Okay? So we just want to dispel these I would say facts, but they're not facts at all. Okay. Our next speaker is Pax Riddle of SCLC and the Cobb Public Safety Coalition.
Yeah, my name's Pax Riddle. I'm here representing Southern Christian Leadership Conference, but also the Cobb Coalition for Public Safety. And as these folks had said earlier, we spent many years here in trying to resolve some issues regarding immigration, and one of those was working very closely with our police departments and our sheriff's department regarding this 287G issue, where prior to that time certain police officials would stop and hassle folks who looked like they might be an illegal immigrant and check for papers and all that sort of stuff. We got rid of all of that, and there's a reason for it. Because police departments were very concerned that the immigrant communities were afraid to report crimes to the police department. And the police department needed their help in resolving these crimes, especially crimes against persons, where somebody got hurt, or domestic violence or what have you, in order to catch the perpetrator. But everybody would remain mum. So I know nothing, because they don't want to interact with the police department. So the police departments of the county have worked very hard now for a couple of years to get rid of that. To wit, recently an example would be Chief Bill Westerberger had a town hall in Kennesaw to talk about public safety, and there was a large Latino turnout, and a lot of these issues got resolved, and folks were still thinking that shouldn't we be afraid of the police. They were hearing a lot of rumors. There's a rumor mill, conspiracy theories about what the police department is going to do to you if you are pulled over. They're going to steal your money. They're going to do all these kinds of things. So this is a constant effort that law enforcement is trying to build a bridge with these immigrant communities so that they will feel like citizens and cooperate with things as they go. So here we are now with another bill in the state legislature that wants to overturn this, and again require sheriffs, deputies, and police departments to start hassling people again about their paperwork. We don't want to go backwards. We've already been there, and everybody's trying hard not to go there. Okay. The other issue about immigration, I think it's important that we say, no, yes, there needs to be work that needs to be done at the border to fix a lot of problems. And recently we had a bill that came forth just to do that. And certain members of Congress, as you all know, refused to listen to it. So if they don't want to fix it, they shouldn't be complaining about it. But one last issue, I did see an interview a couple of weeks ago with Chairman Powell of the Federal Reserve. And as you recall, President Trump appointed Mr. Powell to that position. And his comment was that one of the reasons, the major driver for our economy in this country that keeps us going, the reason our GDP is much higher than the rest of the world at this point in time, is immigration. This is from the chairman of the Federal Reserve, okay? Immigration has been the major driver for economic success in this country because of our aging population. A good example, Japan has this same problem, an aging population. They're in big trouble. Their GDP is down next to nothing because nobody's immigrating to Japan. They don't have any immigration, okay? So we have to have these young people coming in. So those were my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you. Yeah.
Would you introduce yourself?
I'm not going to speak today, but I'll just introduce myself. I'm Jeff Jones. I'm a Unitarian Universalist community minister, and I'm here as a person of faith. And I think faith communities as a whole support what the immigrants need, their journey, their struggles, and want to welcome them with an open heart. And that's what I'm here for. Blessings to you all.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Now we'll open it up for any questions.
Emily Pearson from WABE. Do you all, what do y'all think the effect of the election year is on the rhetoric that we're hearing going on?
The election?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
You want to take it?
I'm glad you raised that question, because behind the question is always really the driver. Bashing immigrants now, bashing descendants of slaves at an earlier time, okay? In other words, finding some neck around which the tag can be put, quote on it, "You are the problem," is a tried and unfortunately true approach to keeping people divided. My sense is we're in an election cycle where, from where I sit, there is a major transition on its way in 2024. A major transition. And I think that the politicians know that, and they are pulling out everything they can to prevent that from coming into reality. Thus, where is the scapegoat? Them. Okay? And them, them is really the rise in the political attacks on this wave of immigrants.
Thank you, Dr. Ben. Go ahead, Larry.
Larry Johnson, Cobb County Courier. I was wondering if y'all have any idea or indication of how likely it is that legislation is going to pass that forces the sheriff's departments to re-implement their 287G programs.
Well, speaking with the sheriff, that is something that he will have to address that when the time comes.
Excuse me. My opinion is that when you pass an unjust law, whether it passes or not, but if you pass an unjust law, then it's not a law at all. As a matter of fact, somebody with better credentials than I said that, Dr. King. Okay? And so this legislation, in the past, by the way, passed unjust laws, and guess what? Law enforcement refused to enforce them. District attorneys refused to enforce them. So it's just, again, dog whistle politics to say we're targeting, scapegoating these people so that the focus is not on the legislature's failure to provide adequate health care, to provide affordable housing, to reduce the massive inequities. Georgia is at the bottom of so many indexes, and yet they're going to stand up and blame and send a National Guard, our governor, to Texas, which is probably an illegal move. Yeah.
Hi, can we talk about some of the potential economic strain that reinvigorating some of these 287G programs may have on local law enforcement?
Say that the question again?
Can you talk about a bit of the potential economic strain that this may have on local law enforcement?
What would be the economic strain on the sheriff's department? They have to start enforcing this.
Well, as it is right now, we know, most of law enforcement agencies right now are short-staffed. So if you're trying to allocate some deputies or officers to enforce immigration laws, obviously is going to have an economical, local economical impact, and not only in the local law enforcement agencies, but also you got to remember it takes money to train law enforcement officers and to immigration officers. So that will be one of the economical impact locally, and I believe in all the law enforcement agencies, at least here in Cobb County. And besides, I want to remind everybody, this is a work of building trust and relationships within the community for many, many years. Law enforcement here in Cobb County and the community, we've been working so hard, and we want to keep that relationship because it works both ways for public safety. People reporting crimes, and then law enforcement officers addressing the situation, making better communities for everybody.
Thank you, Carlos.
Good response. Good response. Thank you.
And not only the economic impact, but as Carlos alluded to, the public safety impact. It makes all of us less safe.
I wanted to just wanted to add something to what Carlos said about regardless of what your opinion is about if somebody is here as an undocumented, what should happen to them. The point is that is not local law enforcement's job. We have a federal government that does that. It's called ICE. And their job is to deal with undocumented immigrants. Let them do their thing within the federal laws, but that is not our responsibility here in our local areas. We have to deal with the people who are here, and if there's a crime committed, we have to deal with that. And police have got to have the cooperation to solve those crimes. That's all.
Thank you, Patrick. And also, I want to clarify something from a legal standpoint, okay? And by the way, Rudy Giuliani, when he was mayor of New York and a district attorney, emphasized this back then. So this goes across all boundaries. Nobody, we know no human is illegal, but no one is considered legally an illegal immigrant until they've had their day in court. So you can't say that people are coming here even over the border illegally, because our refugee laws say that if you make it to America by boat, land, helicopter, however, as a refugee, you're entitled to a hearing for asylum as a refugee. That is a legal process. So don't give us this bunk about tens of thousands of illegal immigrants coming over the border. These are women and children and families that have risked life and limb to get here from countries where our foreign economic and militaristic policies have decimated their economies. So let them plead that case in our asylum and refugee courts.
Mr. Pellegrino,
Any
you had
questions?
mentioned that communities that have undocumented immigrants are some of the safest in America to live in. Can you point us to where we can